Hi, welcome to HowtoDandD. My name is Fred Wheeler and today I want to talk about Dungeons & Dragons 5e, and we're talking about how to play Dungeons & Dragons 5e, and this video is covering the Barbarian and its extra attack. And I want to just point out right now that there's plenty of classes that have extra attack and they don't all work absolutely the same way. So make sure that you actually read the section on the Barbarian's extra attack. I'm going to go through it bit by bit anyway, but this is where your Barbarian becomes vastly more dangerous because they can make more attacks than they could before. So please turn to page 49 of the Player's Handbook for details on the Barbarian's extra attack feature. And I want to just read it out. It's one sentence, so it's pretty short. Beginning at 5th level, you can attack twice instead of once, whenever you take the attack action on your turn. Now, that should pretty much tell you everything you need to know. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover all the things or all the questions that I thought that somebody might ask regarding this particular feature. So first off, extra attack can be a little bit confusing, as I said, because of the fighter's extra attack. It's not the same. Extra attack does not give you another action. Neither does it give you a bonus action. It doesn't give you another bonus action. You only get one. It doesn't give you another reaction. It doesn't give you another movement. It doesn't give you additional movement. And it doesn't give you an additional interaction where you might draw your sword or put your sword away or activate a lever. It doesn't give you any of that at all. So just bear that in mind. Extra attack doesn't give you an action, bonus action, reaction, additional movement, or an interaction. Any of the attacks made with extra attack can be replaced with either a grapple or a shove. So if you've got two attacks with extra attack, the first one can be replaced with grapple or shove, and the second one can also be replaced with grapple or shove. Or you can do a combination of grapple and attack, or attack and grapple, or shove and attack. Any combination of those is fine. And it's spelled out very clearly in the Player's Handbook. And I have done videos on grappling and shoving, and if you're not too familiar with that sort of those mechanics, then please just type into YouTube grapple or shove D&D 5e and they will pop up. Extra attack for the Barbarian allows you to attack twice with your action. So you still only get one action, but instead of getting to attack once, you get to attack twice in the same turn. These attacks can be either a ranged or a melee weapon attack. It doesn't allow you to cast two spells. Okay, you've got to understand that all that the extra attack feature is doing is giving you, when you take the attack action, it's like giving you additional attacks. So that doesn't mean casting a spell. That's a totally different thing. So don't get confused with that. You can use your attacks to make unarmed strikes. That means if you've got extra attack, you can make two unarmed strikes or one unarmed strike and use a weapon of some kind, provided you've got hands free to do so. I want you to probably, look, it doesn't actually state it in the Player's Handbook, but I would check with your Dungeon Master first if they will allow you to make two attacks using improvised weapons. So if you want to use improvised weapons or make improvised weapon attacks, then it shouldn't really be an issue, but check with your Dungeon Master first. There's nothing stated in the Player's Handbook that says that you can do it, but it's not a game-breaking feature. In fact, you're probably putting yourself at a huge disadvantage by making improvised attacks and using your extra attack feature at the same time. It's just how it is, because improvised attacks it's only a 1d4 plus your strength modifier. So it's not a lot of damage. You could attack twice with a thrown weapon, and this is provided you have got these weapons in your hands. So if you've got javelins or hand axes, you could throw both of them. That's fine, provided they're in your hands. Remember, and try not to get confused, there's no issue with firing two arrows with your bow because you can draw them quickly. And it's not an interaction to draw the arrow. Okay? It's not an interaction. It's part of the action itself. But with a javelin, if you don't already have it out, you'll need to use your interaction to draw out a second javelin so you can throw both of them in the same turn. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. That means if you've got no javelins in your hands and you want to draw out 2 javelins in the same turn, you're not going to be able to do that unless you have a special feature or a feat that allows you to do this, because it requires 2 interactions, or your interaction and to draw the next one would be your action. Same thing applies with the hand axes. If you have got 2 already in your hand, you can throw both of them. If you've only got 1 in your hand when you start your turn, you can draw another one as an interaction and throw both of them. That's going to be fine. Okay. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up the demo screen and just run through very, very briefly sort of how this might look in reality. And I also want to point out some useful tactics and strategies you can use with your extra attack feature. This is a strange construct. Okay, so your first thing you can do on your turn is you could make 2 attacks, and if you've got a great axe, great. If you've got a great sword, it doesn't matter. So that's essentially just roll 2 20-sided dice, add your attack modifier, and then if you hit, you roll your damage. So that's pretty simple. Nothing to it. Very, very easy. And I would recommend, if you're going to be using extra attack, I recommend my players roll both the attacks at the same time. And if you can have separate sets of dice, then it means that you can sort of line up, when you roll the deep blue dice, you'll be rolling your damage dice at the same time, all at once. Otherwise, the turns will take a long time. So that's the first thing. Make 2 attacks. Or, if you're not carrying a great axe and you decide to carry light weapons, these are weapons that are considered light, which allows you to use 2-weapon fighting. That means that using your extra attack feature, you can make 2 light weapon attacks, say with short swords. So you roll for both of them. And once you've done that, remember your main hand is doing 2 attacks with your light weapon or your short sword if you're using one. But then you can use your bonus action, provided you've got another light weapon, say a short sword in the offhand, you can roll again, okay, and make another attack as a bonus action. So that means you can essentially get 3 attacks provided you're carrying and holding light weapons that allow you to do so. Now if you pick up something like Dual Wielder, the feat Dual Wielder, then you don't need to be carrying light weapons to make your attacks. You can wield different weapons, which is always nice. It's a good feat to take. Next, one of my favorites, I'm going to ditch this thing. I'm going to bring in some little things. So you can push over creatures that are large size. This is a large thing, so you could push it over. And as I said, I did do a video on shoving. So what you can do with your extra attack, and I used to do this quite a lot with my own game, and that is I would use my first attack and I would use the shove option. Now shove allows you to push something over if you're successful. It's a contest. If you're successful, you can knock them prone, so knock them over prone, or push them back 5 feet. So you pick, provided you win the contest. And it's a athletics or strength ability check. Use your athletics because it's going to be higher, probably because you'll be proficient in it. You make your 20-sided dice roll, and that is contested by the mummy or whoever you're shoving. Okay, very, very simple, and they can use, I believe it's either dexterity or athletics. So dexterity, athletics, strength, acrobatics. Okay, dexterity, acrobatics, strength, athletics. There we go. So you have to use athletics to do the shove, but they can contest it with either dexterity, strength, which is going to be athletics, or acrobatics if they're proficient. Okay, provided you get higher, you can't get equal to it. It's a contest, so you must get higher. If you get higher, you're successful. So I would follow up, use my first attack, knock them prone, particularly if I'm at the top of the initiative order and the monster is near the bottom. Now my next attack, when I follow up, gets advantage. My last attack, I've been successful, I've knocked them prone because I've pushed them, and then I get advantage. You roll 2 dice, okay? You increase your chances of one hitting and also making scoring a critical hit. And it also means that the rest of the party can shift to melee weapons, or melee, close quarter combat. They can shift to them, and they all get advantage on the monster while it's prone. It's a very, very good technique to use. I highly recommend using it. It worked really well for me. But it works best when you're high on the initiative order and the monster is going to have a few rounds where, well, a few turns where the players will get an opportunity to attack before it gets to do anything else. So always cool. Then the other option is you can try to use your grapple and attack. Not so useful, but good if you want to drag somebody somewhere. You can't push them, but you can drag them around, and you can also stop them moving away. So if they've been jumping in and out of combat, making an athletics check or a strength check to try to grapple onto them, and they can contest it with either a strength or a dexterity check, which is athletics or acrobatics. Provided you get higher, you grapple, and I've done a video on grappling, and I suggest just typing it into YouTube, you'll find it. It's very, very simple. It's a contest. You have to get higher. If you're successful, you can now drag the enemy wherever you like, okay? Wherever you like, but half the speed. Now, it sounds like, well, why would I want to do that? One, it might be simply because you need to get them closest to the rest of the party, or stop them from moving in and out of combat. Okay, that's one of the reasons why you might do that. And then you follow up with your last attack. Instead of it being a grapple, it might be, I'm going to use that to make my attack. Or if you've got a very nice DM and they are willing to, they're not using the feats in the game, they might allow you to try to pin or restrain whatever you've grabbed. That is not in the player's handbook. Okay, that'll be dependent on your dungeon master. So that's it. That's pretty much the basics of it. Now, I haven't gone and made the rolls because I've got videos on making melee weapon attacks, ranged weapon attacks, using the shove and the grapple, and I suggest watching those rather than me hashing through that all over again. But I just wanted to point out what I thought were the best ways of dealing with using your extra attack. There may in fact be other things you can do. What you can't do is use your extra attacks to activate things. So it's not like using an object. You can't use it to pull a lever or anything like that. Just bear that in mind. It's just to make attacks. So if you found this interesting or useful or helpful to you in some way, please like the video. And also share it with somebody else who might find it useful too. I'm sure there might be somebody out there who might find something that I had said today useful. If you're not already subscribed, then hit that subscribe button, and that helps me. Also hit the bell button, that'll notify you when I am live so that you can watch me live and interact, which I'm going to be doing very, very shortly. And also too, when I publish a new video, and occasionally I do videos probably about once in a while, once a week, maybe twice a week, depending on how things are going. I'll do a pre-recorded video and I'll publish it, and that's all edited, and it'll notify you when I do that. Now look, if you want to help my channel, you watching my video right now helped me out hugely. Now I get AdSense revenue from that. You probably know because you had to put up with the ads. On top of that, I have about 500 videos. There's bound to be something you'll find useful to you in some way. I don't do Patreon, but down in the description, you will find an affiliate link. You know the story about those affiliate links. Every channel's got them now, right? You buy something online, I get a small commission, you pay exactly the same price, and you don't even have to buy the thing that it's linked to, and it's usually Amazon or the book depository. And I find that hugely useful, and I'm glad when people actually use that feature, because it really does help a lot. Okay. So if you have questions, I see people have started to put a couple of comments in, and I'm going to respond to them in a second. So in the chat box, in the live chat box, put up any comments, questions you might have. Let's deal with them right now. If you're not part of the live stream, then as I said, please put your questions, any feedback, anything you disagree with, put that down in the comments section. If I have to reference anything, then I will do so. I have found most of the information on Sage Advice to be minimal, so it required a little bit of jerry-rigging to a certain degree and reading through the line and between the lines, and also looking back at other sections, and I would have to reference parts of the player's handbook to give you all the information if you want references. And I know some people do. Okay, so that's it. That's that covered. And hey, till next time, keep rolling those 20s. Oh, well, that's not a 20, that's an 18.